How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And it is your weekly overviews of books coming out this particular week from Marvel Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So, big thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us advance copies of these books. These books are due out in the direct market and book market on June 13th or 14th, depending on where you get your books. In the description of the video, I always leave timestamps, but with 3 books, yeah, you know what? No, I'll still leave timestamps in case you don't want any kind of spoilers, because we are talking about Wolverine Volume 5 and the ending of John Ridley's run over here on Black Panther. So, in case you don't want any spoilers and you're just interested in one book, you can jump around. Alright, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. All that helps with our YouTube algorithm and our channel keep growing. So let's go ahead and start with Wolverine Volume 6. Actually, no. We'll do things a little bit different this time around. Let's go ahead and start with the spines. Figured I'd go ahead and start this way because there's only 3 books. But here's all the spines of the books coming out this week. Now let's go ahead and get to Wolverine. So here we have the latest volume of the Wolverine ongoing series by Benjamin PERCY. This is the run during the Krakoa era. And this pretty much covers issues 26 through 30 of Wolverine. After many adventures with X-Force and Rolling Solo, he now has a little bit of time to relax. There's some wonderful artwork in here too by Juan Jose Rip. But what I was going back to is that he now has some time to crack open a cool beer and enjoy the summer sun with his buddy Jeff Bannister and his kid Maddie. So actually I kind of like their relationship. This is an ex-CIA agent that was introduced through the pages of Wolverine, this particular Wolverine series, a few issues back, or actually during volume 2, I think, of this run, if you're getting them in trade paperback. But I like the relationship between both of them because Wolverine's like, sometimes I just need to lay back and crack a cold one open and enjoy just living life instead of fighting things after another. And then he talks about the responsibility of the council and Krakoa and how different things are when back in the day all he had to do was just beat the crap out of things and kill things and then go back home and crack open a cold beer. It is interesting to see him still enjoy a beer, though, without a stogie these days. So we do have a little bit of just missions that the Beast is sending them on, and not just Wolverine. So this really does feel almost like an X-Force book. I think for the longest time, Percy has had a hard time just separating his Wolverine book from his run on X-Force. But later on, this does become really focused on Wolvie. And this is a really strange book. Alright, so before meeting up with his pal, here we go, let's get to. Jeff Bannister meets this bank teller outside when he's having a coffee. And she tells him a couple of things about herself. He thinks that she's interested in him. And him and Wolverine go to the Smithsonian Castle in Washington, D.C., because underneath it, there's something that he needs. It's something that he wants. But it turns out that this bank teller wasn't a bank teller at all, but turns out to be the merchant, the guy that kind of holds these auctions for superheroes, including the bullet that went through Wolverine's head that he just put through. It's kind of strange. Like, he's having this auction war on Wolverine's body pieces, and the person that ends up bidding the most, or bidding on who can kill Wolverine, is none other than Beast, with an eye patch. And if sci-fi shows, comics, movies, or anime has taught you anything, anytime you have an eye patch on somebody, immediately they become a villain. Or a goatee, I guess. So, this is where it gets interesting, because this is where the Beast is kind of manipulating Wolverine to forget memories, and every time he's brought back, you get to find out a little bit more about what the Beast is trying to do, because for the longest time, a lot of us that have been reading X-Force were so confused as to what his agenda is, what he wants to do with this particular team, why he's treating some characters really odd. And in here, even though some questions are answered, it's still a little strange. Now, eventually, you get to find out Jeff's part in all this, and Maddie, his daughter. This is really cute, actually, in kind of morbid way, but in a Wolverine way. Wolverine ends up giving Maddie the Deadpool's finger. And she's like, "What is this? Is gross." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, but he's a mutant. And if you ever need me, and if you ever need to go to Krakoa, you use this finger to get through the portal. Because remember, only mutants can go through the portals that take them to Krakoa. So now she can walk through the gate, and she does use it in a really cute way. And then, of course, things go wrong. Ups and downs, just like X-Force. It's just really strange to see some of these characters act this way. Beautiful freaking artwork, though. I'm really growing to enjoy Juan's art. It's gritty, it's dark. Reminds me a little bit of like Lionel Francis Yu. It's not as clean and crisp, but like old school Lionel Francis Yu artwork. Let's go all the way to the back. It's going to be a quick video. So we have covers here from Wolverine 26 all the way to issue number 30, and then of course some variants. And the variants are collected in thumbnail size. The book retails for $15.99, and it has 136 pages. Black Panther, Volume 3, All This and the World 2. This is John Ridley's final volume of Black Panther, collecting issues 11 through 15. So The Long Shadow is what kicked it off. And I actually enjoyed The Long Shadow. I know some of my viewers didn't really like it. Volume 2 was okay. This one... well, let's just talk about what the premise of this one is. All right. So in here, we've had the outcome of volumes 1 and 2, where Black Panther has pretty much been exiled from Wakanda. He is no longer their leader because of some of the decisions that he's made in the past. Particularly one where he had his friends like Jai be part of this undercover sleeper agents of Wakanda throughout the world. And once Wakanda found out about this, they were like, how can you not trust your own people? So now, because of a battle in Volume 2, his shoulder's busted, so he can't go on missions, so he's hanging out with the Avengers, and even Steve is questioning his loyalty. Now, we also have a new group of terrorists that are invading the UN buildings, and they're taking out, like, Wisconsin's internet, which is really strange, because you don't really know what their purpose is, what they really want, until the third issue in the story arc. But Captain America keeps calling them a terrorist, all those assailants there. And T'Challa's like, what do you mean they're terrorists? They're not hurting anybody, they're not harming anyone. But I don't know why Captain America had to make this clear to T'Challa. He was like, yeah, but they've taken out the Wisconsin internet service. That means nobody can get on internet, including hospitals. We're not talking about people's Instagram and Twitter posts. We're talking about hospitals that need to connect to the internet to see people's medicines. Not really sure why he had to explain that to T'Challa or Carol. Actually, Carol's the one that asked about that. So they go in there, the Avengers go in there, and they're kind of taken out by these new group of terrorists that have these advanced weapons. Well, come to find out, these advanced weapons are, of course, tied to Wakanda. So T'Challa, even though he's been exiled as leader of Wakanda, has to pull some strings and meet with their leader. Now, he finds out who their leader is, and it just blows his mind. He's like, how can this be? So again, he gets the crap beat out of him and taken out to get killed, and he escapes. And now he's building his own team. Not a really secret operative team, but a team of characters like Gentle and Tosin and a couple of other characters that were introduced to John Ridley's run to go and take out this group of terrorists. So now he believes that it's up to him and his new team to go and take them out, because even Steve has kind of turned his back on him. But Steve wants to handle things a different way. And of course he does. So there's this huge misunderstanding between Captain America and Black Panther, and they go at it. Like, Captain America refuses to let T'Challa have it his way, and T'Challa refuses to let Captain America handle these new terrorists his way because he believes he's responsible because they have Wakandan weapons. So this leads to a really interesting team up that I didn't see coming, and it's kind of all is forgiven except for some people in Wakanda. But that's kind of where the run ends up ending, and we have a huge fight with these terrorists. At the end of the day, things get turned back to normal. Some of these characters that were introduced. By the way, I have to show this freaking cover. That freaking cover is so awesome, and this last page doesn't really spoil anything, so I'm not even going to censor it. That is so 90s, and yes, I guess if you're not a fan of 90s artwork, that is so badass. That is by Takashi Okazaki. Oh my gosh. Just the amount of grenades and the gun. I don't know. Is art like that going to make a comeback? Alex Russ providing, of course, the covers for each of these issues. And you can find out exactly where it ends because it's the last of it. All the way in the back are where you're going to see some variant covers. And then we have Eve Ewing's run after this. So that is not out in trade paperback yet. I don't know if she started or not yet. And it's interesting because, like, we've got double variants. We've got the variants here for issues 14 through 15. So I think it's a misprint for the variants over here. 112 pages retailing for $15.99. Oh yeah, baby, give me that X. Because here we go with X-Force Epic Collection. I didn't say give me that X when I talked about Wolverine, huh? Yeah, my bad. Volume 8 of the Epic Collection, 1998 to 2000. I was not collecting comics during this time. As a matter of fact, I was being a fool during this time, and I should have stayed collecting comics, but I did come back to read these. So, collecting issues 85 through 100, so we got another anniversary issue. And also the X-Force Champions Annuals 98 and X-Force Annual 99. So here, love that Annual 99, by the way. John Francis Moore, Tom Beerbaum, Mary Beerbaum doing the Champions Annual, and Fabian Nicieza making a return to X-Force Annual 99. Angel Unzueta, Terry Schumacher, but the big name here is Jim Chung. Oh my gosh, there's so much Jim Chung in here. Tommy Lee Edwards, and then also Mike S. Miller, just to name a few of the artists. So this is a really interesting time of X-Force. And if you ask most people, not their favorite era. There are some really good things that happen through here. But for the most part, it's just X-Force trying to find out who they are in this world of mutants that are still kind of banded together because of the things that are going on through the crossovers after Operation Zero Tolerance, and then you had like Apocalypse or X-Men versus the Apocalypse of 12, and it's just a really interesting time for X-Force because it feels like they were kind of doing their own thing. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of the storyline, they started out in California, and we do have a new team member since the last volume, and that is, of course, Jesse Bedlam. But here we have a character of Pandemonia who has taken over some of the X-Force members. And Cannonball and Jesse are kind of at each other's throat because Cannonball doesn't know whether to trust him or not. And Jesse's like, hey man, I'm just telling you like it is. You need to go back home to your mama because she's sick. And Cannonball's like, you don't know me. We Kentucky folk do it a little bit different. And that's how we do, though, in Kentucky. But anyway, there is Pandemonia, the Queen of Chaos, who has taken control of the X-Force members. Sunspot, Boom Boom going as Meltdown now. Siren and Thunder. Did I almost call him Thunderhawk? Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter 6, and there's a girl in there that plays like Thunderhawk. Warpath, I meant. But she's taking control of these mutants. They need help. The three of them can't beat their former teammates, or their teammates, rather. So they go and get some help from a magic user. Let's just keep going through here. Here is the Champions and Eternal book, where they have to fight a character known as Hades. I want to make one thing pretty clear through here, though. During this time is when Marvel was really trying to, I don't want to say force feed you, but trying to push this idea that the Deviants were a big part of the Marvel Universe since the beginning. So the Eternals play a bigger part through here. There's actually an Eternal story here. But the Deviants play a big part. The Deviants have come out of hiding during this era. Not just for X-Force, but the entire Marvel Universe. So you're going to see a lot of things in here that they're talking about Eternals and Deviants, and you're like, well, that has nothing to do with mutants. What is going on? It was throughout the whole Marvel Universe. After Onslaught, something needed to bring a lot of these characters together. It just never really played out the way that Onslaught did, right? We see a new group of Hellions, because this time around, the character of Jesse Bedlam was introduced through the pages of Age of Apocalypse. We never saw his 616 counterpart until X Force. He kind of came to us at a surprise. But we knew that he had a twin brother out there because of or a brother rather, of the pages of Factor X. So in here we get to see his brother, but in here his brother comes back with a group of new Hellions. And some of these new Hellions were old team members of New Mutants and X Force. And there's some surprising returns, including this young lady right here, who was believed dead by pretty much every reader out there, including myself. And the whole purpose of King Bedlam, as he's calling himself, Chris, Jesse's brother, is to resurrect the Armageddon Man, who's been kind of put to sleep by the government. He's been asleep for 40 years, and this Armageddon Man, he wants to bring him back to join the Hellions, but of course, how does uh, plans like that ever work out? So you can find out how X-Force beats him. Now, during that fight, something happens where Siren's throat, like her throat gets slashed. So if you know anything about Siren and Banshee, her father, they need their vocal cords to talk. And, we've seen that before, not just to Banshee, but also Siren. So she kind of has to leave the team in a really sad issue. That one's drawn by Tommy Lee Edwards. So the team is without Siren now. In a really interesting story arc, we see Domino face this man right here. This is Halloween Jack. Now, Halloween Jack was first introduced through the pages of the 2099. Did I say that right? No, 2099. There we go. Universe in Spider-Man 2099. He played a big part in Fall of the Hammer, and later becomes Halloween Jack in the pages of X-Men 2099. So John Francis Moore did write X-Men, and probably why we see this character appear through the pages of his run on X-Force. But look at this Jim Cheung artwork. My gosh. I believe this is the fight when they have to team up with the Eternals, and they make it all the way to Genosha. Pete Wisdom ends up joining them for a little while, and he'll be coming back a little bit later during the Counter X era. But they run into Magneto, because right now he is leading Genosha. This all takes place also during the Quicksilver issues when he had his own ongoing series. And here we have the return of Shatterstar and Richter, because you damn right we demanded it, even though I wasn't reading comics back then. But Fabian Nicieza makes a return to the characters of X-Force, bringing back Richter and Shatterstar for this particular story that will reunite them with their friends. And at the very end, I thought it was really sweet. Like, at the very end, it's revealed, like, hey, if you want to see more of Richter and Shatterstar, let your editor know. I guess nobody really did, or maybe not enough people let the editor know, because there really wasn't a follow-up series to that. Matter of fact, we don't see Shatterstar and Richter for a long time after this. Now we get the corruption of Sunspot. The Hellfire Club still interested in Sunspot after all these years. They want him back, and he has to turn down the Black Queen there, Selene. So they are all of X-Force is getting messed with, because there's the return of something evil that is lurking in the woods. Love the fact that they got Bill Sienkiewicz. Anytime you mention this character, no, I'm not talking about the trees. You always have to have like Bill Sienkiewicz do a cover. But yes, Danny has to stand up here and put a stop to this particular nightmare that has been a menace to her since those issues of X-Force, or New Mutants 18 through 23. But that's what the issue 100 is. And there is a variant cover. Actually, let's look at the extras and censoring that final page. Not that it gives anything really away, but just in case you want to read it for yourself and find out what happens. But we have a variant cover there by Rob Liefeld, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if these are new character designs that he was going for, or if he was just like, I don't know what these characters look like. Look, this is the way I'm going to draw them, and live with it. He also did a variant cover for issue number 52 that I like. I had no idea that he did a variant cover for issue 100, honestly. I completely forgot about that. Some original artwork, including this piece right here. And more pages from X-Men Annual, X-Force 100, And that's pretty much it as far as extras. Not a lot of extras for this era. The book has 480 pages and retails for $44.99. Ups and downs, of course, but that Jim Cheung artwork alone makes this book get the near mint condition seal of approval. My gosh. And it's crazy to think about, Jim Cheung has become one of these artists that isn't really fast these days. As a matter of fact, a lot of the delays that happen in the Children's Crusade or Young Avengers had to do with how slow he was. It's crazy to go back here and see how fast of an artist he was. I mean, he was doing 3 or 4 issues and then taking a break and then coming back to do 3 or 4 issues, and then even including a anniversary issue that was huge. I mean, it was, well, twice the size of a normal issue. But that's really cool to go back and see how fast these artists were. Maybe he was getting paid by the page then? I don't know. Maybe things are different. Now he's kind of blown up and he's doing more covers, so he doesn't really need to hustle as hard. I don't know. Or maybe, it's getting older, not as fast. But anyway, that is X-Force Epic Collection Armageddon now. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count of each of these collected editions. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up for your collection. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. And more importantly, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and much love.